What's happening, folks? It's Gene here, DPO Doc Talk Podcast. You know what, man? The season is upon us. For a lot of our buddies out in the Midwest, South, and the South, they've already been fired up and rolling, man. We were at the Bassmaster Classic not too long ago. A lot of people have been going, but for those, a lot of us in the country, our season is just opening up, man. The ice is off. Spring kind of jumped on us, then it did a psych move and blasted us a little bit here in Colorado, but it's getting back. Now, whether that means you're putting the kayak in the pickup, throwing it on top of the roof of your car, or putting it on a trailer, just going out to enjoy yourself fishing, or whether it's the tournament scene, bottom line is, man, that kayak's coming out of the garage, and it's going to be getting into harm's way at the end of this. And what I mean by that is in traffic. The one thing, I got a cat joining us here on the recording. That's fantastic. One of the things that people don't often think about, and I'm a guy coming from the boat world over a few years back, and it dawned on me like, holy crap, I didn't even think about this, is if you get in a car wreck, man, of any kind, or something happens, God forbid something happens, it is not a guarantee that kayak is covered. In most cases, it probably isn't. And dude, I mean, when we look at the cost of things these days and where this stuff's going with motors and electronics, you can't afford not to be insured. So that's what we're going to talk about today, man, is kayak insurance. And so who better than to bring in one of the original people that when we first started this podcast 3 years ago, one of the first people we interviewed here in Colorado. He was very instrumental. I've never told him this, but he was very instrumental in helping us get established in kayak here in Colorado, man. And we're forever grateful for Ronnie's help on this. This guy is an avid outdoorsman. He's a kayak angler himself, and he happens to be an insurance agent that can give you the ins and outs of this. So without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Ronnie Romero to the show. Ronnie, what's happening, dude?
What's going on, Gene?
I never told you that before, dude. You and Alex and a couple other guys, dude, I can't thank you guys enough for helping bring me into the kayak world, because I have not looked back since I got in, man. I mean, I miss some things about my boat. It was a great boat, but dude, I love the kayak scene. I love the people. I love the gear. I love the experience. It's phenomenal, man. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that, but yeah, happy to have you, man. It's been good to have you around.
It's a ton of fun. So yeah, man. So we're just talking about this thing. The season's getting fired up, dude. You're an avid hunter, and you go on some like off the chain hunting trips here. What was this last one you were just on? Talk to me about that.
Actually went to Africa. That was my last big one. I won a trip in a raffle or auction with Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation in like 2019, I think. And then we had it scheduled a couple times, and it kept getting delayed from COVID. And finally, we were able to go, and it was awesome. I had such a blast, and it's a unique experience out there, just because it's not what we expect. I don't think, coming from Colorado and doing our own public land kind of thing, but.
Yeah.
But I had a blast. I met a lot of cool people. In fact, the professional hunter that I met out there, he actually came and stayed with me like a month ago. He came and visited, and he had never been to the States, and he bounced around, saw a bunch of people, but he stayed with me for about a week, and it was just cool. It was a really cool experience. I had a blast. I got my mounts back, so I got a few things hanging on the wall at home just to kind of remember the experience. But yeah, it's a good time.
Dude, isn't that one of the coolest things about the sport and the outdoors? It transcends all aspects of the outdoors. We see it in the kayak fishing side a ton, but in other areas is the people, right? The connections you make. It's like, this is our common bond. We don't come from any other similarities in life, but it's that love for the outdoors and respect for nature that brings us immediately together. And yeah, you form some cool friendships out of this stuff. So that's super cool, man.
Yeah, it's definitely something that keeps me involved in the tournament angling side of things. Is all the guys that I met through the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, and might run some Bassmaster stuff this year. But yeah, it's the people are awesome, and I mean nothing beats the trips. When we got the trip that's coming up for the All American Kayak Classic from qualifying last year, that's coming up at Truman. And I think there's 9 of us. And I mean, one of the guys from Nebraska, we met him at the All American the first year. We're at a campsite next to him, and now he stays with us. Like, it's
nice.
Yeah, it's cool. You can't really beat it.
Yeah, man, I've got a ton of connections in that Missouri area of people that The same thing. It's like any given time I would gladly, open up my Airbnb or hotel room if someone needed a bunk or whatever, because it's just these are good people from Georgia all the way to Colorado, man. I've got them, covered across the board. They're up Minnesota to Texas, you name it. So, well, good stuff, man. And and that it kind of brings us to what we're talking about here today. We were just talking before we got going. When I was tugging a 21-foot bass boat around, it was easily, in my head constantly to remind me about insurance. That boat needs to be covered, check the trailer. Sometimes the mobility factor and the ease of use, like for me throwing my unlimited in the bed of my truck with a bed extender, you almost to a degree kind of forget it's there sometimes, right? I mean, yeah. I know I do it pulling into a grocery store. I'm like, oh, that's right. I got a little hangover here. I can't park up front type thing, or I'll be clipping Granny in her cart, with my yak. So it sometimes slips the head the fact that if something were to happen out there, there's a good chance that gear and that kayak's not being covered, man, and that's not because you have bad insurance. That's not bad insurance at all. What that is they don't know you're carrying that stuff around with you. So you need somebody, in my opinion, like you that you trust and that knows what we're doing out there to talk with. So talk with us about that, just on the basic level of the kayak side when it comes to getting insurance.
Yeah, I mean, a kayak is basically a boat with no motor. So I mean, there's several ways to insure them. The biggest thing in Colorado is why we recommend having a separate policy. Is because it's technically covered on your home insurance or renters or whatever you do. It's technically covered there, but we have so much hail and weather events that you're gonna have a hail claim on your house at some point. And the last thing you'd ever want is a hail claim and then a claim for your kayak, which probably had a high deductible on your house policy too. And now you're either taking rate increases or just straight non-renewal, which in Colorado insurance right now is crazy. Really every state is having their own insurance issues, but Colorado is pretty unique right now. So it's super inexpensive, and it just makes sense to do it. I mean, even if your kayak's worth over $1,500, I'd say it's worth it. I mean, pretty most carriers can do it. I'm a State Farm agent in Colorado. State Farm does a really good boat policy. You can usually do like $3,500 for the boat, and then put all your tackle, electronics, add your trailer. You can do all that stuff, and it's still less than $200 a year. So they're super inexpensive, and you don't have to switch everything to State Farm either. You can do a standalone boat policy. So if you've got State Farm already, if your agent doesn't know how to do it, have them reach out to me and I'll help them. Or if you just want to do just a standalone kayak, we're more than happy to help. It's kind of a pain, but we don't mind helping when, write these little things for people. But they're awesome, and the deductible is like $50. So it's crazy. I mean, something happened, and the risk. I hate to say the risk is low, but it is pretty low. I mean, a nicer, pedal kayak, the theft rates are not real high on them. A lot of it because if someone steals it, what are they gonna do with it? Everyone has a bunch of stickers on it. Like they're fairly unique. I mean, it's not, and they're 12 to 14 foot long.
Yeah.
So it's not like one guy's just, it's not a smash and grab kind of
toting off with
it.
Yeah.
So the theft risk is not real high. It's most of the claims we've seen have been really from car accidents. That's the most common thing is, you get an accident on the way there. But yeah, super low deductible. There's little small endorsements that I have on mine that even has a tournament reimbursement. So if you had already paid for a tournament and you can't back out and something happens, you can even file that on it. I mean, granted, for our kayak stuff, for the small,
right,
local series, is probably not worth it. But if you're doing the bigger stuff and, you got a few $100 involved, it's nothing for us to reimburse those if you can't make it for, certain reason.
You said something here that I totally didn't even. First off, homeowner's insurance policy probably covers it, or your renter's insurance. But, tip to the wise, take it from an old guy and take it from an insurance agent. The least amount of claims you can put on your homeowner's insurance, the better, because that is probably
Absolutely
your most expensive policy that you have. And for some folks that don't, maybe the out of sight, out of mind thing, it's rolled into escrow in their mortgage, so they don't really realize it. Look at that statement, man. And that's the last thing you want to do is be putting claims on that thing for a kayak. Yeah. I mean, like you said,
100%.
At $200 for a year, that is a no-brainer. Even if it's $300, I mean, I was paying, I think, $5 for my boat, $5 or $6, I think is what I paid. And I had a much higher deductible than that, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, man. Get that coverage
Yeah.
on there, protect yourself, because it's not important now until you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
And like
the
I said,
whole,
the risk is so low. I mean, the risk is low. I mean, I think I've only had a couple kayak claims. You know, I've been a State Farm for 17 years, but I've only had my agency for 6, and I've only had a handful of kayak claims. But it's just one of those things. And unfortunately, one of the guys I know that lost pretty much everything didn't have insurance on it, and so they're just kind of out. And granted, we have a great group that people will donate and try and help you if something happens. But I mean, do you want to depend on that, or
yeah, no,
you want to throw one rod combo a year, in value, and just have it covered and not worry about it,
right.
you know?
No, man, that's for sure. I think we had a situation last year where a young man had a situation that yeah, I think cost him quite a bit. I'm betting there wasn't insurance involved there, and thank goodness he was okay. Things worked
Yeah,
out at the end of the day. But yeah, that was some scary stuff. So, no, man, it's the whole. It's that, well, to save some sophomoric humor here, it's that whole condom thing back in college, right? It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
that's the thing, right? I mean, it's you want to make sure that stuff is in place, and that's super cool. So talk to me on, you said there was some endorsements. So when we're talking about, we can get the kayak insured. And like most of them, like on mine, my motor is completely, removable. It just detaches. We've got lithium batteries in there. Those are probably one of the higher expensive pieces. And then of course our graphs and such. Can we get coverage for all that kind of stuff? Say if something were to happen, an accident, or, take it out of the car accidents. What if something really bad happens, like we've seen in the past, and, guy flips over? Bad accident, you lose your gear. Is that kind of stuff covered too, or no?
It is. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I have a little email template that I'll send out to people now when they do ask, because um, I just say it's complicated. It's a little more complicated than just doing an auto policy, because you give me a VIN on your car and I know everything about that car. The serial numbers on kayaks don't really follow that way, and I don't know what you're taking on that kayak. So we kind of want to know. You still got to know your make and model, but I want to know the value that you want your kayak insured for.
Right.
Want to know the value of anything that you have attached to it, and I want to know the top end of anything that you'd take with you. So we always tell people, like, the most stuff you'd ever take on one trip, give me that number. That way, if you are loaded up and go into a national tournament and you have every rod you own and every chatterbait you've ever bought is all in there, you want all that stuff insured, because it will not change the premium much at all. I mean, it is such a small impact. You want everything covered, and that way, yeah, if something does happen, or someone steals your truck from the hotel parking lot and everything's in it, everything's covered. So, but yeah, you're right. If they flip, something like that, I mean, that's all in there.
Just had a buddy from another new canoe owner way up in the great north of Wisconsin there. Literally off his trailer had a 12-foot unlimited stolen off the back of his trailer. I don't know if it was buttoned down other than ratchet straps, but just in an area that that there's not a high crime rate, So my guess is it's some teenagers, out, doing what they're doing, but still, nevertheless, man, it just, your heart breaks when you see this stuff. It's like, dude, I can't imagine what that would feel like, in there. So now that was going to be another question. So in the era that we're in now, there are a lot of guys and gals that are using trailers nowadays. Whether it be just to get it to the lake or to actually even launch from. Does that change the policy at all if you have a trailer attached?
No, not much. So we can include it in the boat policy. Like I had a utility trailer that I used for kayak and other stuff. If you're going to do that, we usually write them separately. And they're super inexpensive, like $20 a year on those utility trailers. Like, they cost nothing. So we can kind of bundle them in the same policy or do them separate. Just, it kind of depends on the use, but
Nice.
You do want them included. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it doesn't cost much. And that's the thing that gets stolen more than the kayak. It'll be the trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of these, like I believe it's FTX is the name of them, out of Texas. They're making some beautiful trailers, man.
Yeah.
And they've got those walk around catwalks on them now, so you can get full access around your kayak to, almost keep it to the point where your feet don't even need to get wet. I mean, it's super bougie, and that's just my speed.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first things I said my first year in. It's like my feet get more wet now than they ever did in my boat days. I'll tell you that. Yep. I could walk off the dock onto the deck of my boat, and what was on the trailer, and I could get out of there. But so that's and that's another concern that people should be watching, because some of those custom trailers, man, those things can get $3,000 to $5,000. Sometimes more if you're putting rod holders and all that kind of stuff on there. You got to take care of your gear, man. You got to protect that stuff because, man, Colorado where we live, I mean, let's face it. I mean, the population alone, you get Colorado Springs to Fort Collins, bro, that I-25 is a death race. I mean, I avoid it as much as humanly possible. But yeah, I mean, you never know. It's not just about you. It's about all the other yahoos running around out there and diving in and out of traffic. And that's the last thing you want is to get clipped, because it wouldn't take much to bend up your boat when it's made of rotomolded plastic, right?
Yeah, definitely wouldn't take much.
So I was noticing something here, man, that I never knew about before. You are a first responder, my friend.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just my local volunteer fire department.
Just nothing, brother. You're part of the group of people out there that make it so that the rest of us goofballs can go around safely doing what we do, man. So thank you very much. Sincerely appreciate that. So how do you pronounce it? Is it Beulah?
Yeah, Beulah. Yeah, it's a little town about 20 minutes southwest of Pueblo.
Okay.
Just a small community, like 600 people. I moved there a couple of years ago.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And it's people like you, brother, that I mean, those little communities I'm a former first responder myself, Larimer County Dive Rescue Team, served up there for several years before I moved away and then came back. And not everybody is equipped to do that kind of work in a community. So it's so important that the people that do have that desire to serve and can do that kind of work, it's so critical that they do it, because the community, man, talk about, not knowing you need them till you need them. Holy Moses, so that's super, super cool, man. And I was just looking down through the Facebook page, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I didn't know that. How long you been doing that?
It's been about a year, a little over a year now.
Nice. It's
been pretty cool. Learning something new at 40 has been kind of a struggle for me, but
right.
It's a rural environment, and I live in a very wooded area.
A lot of wildland stuff then.
Yeah, a lot of wildfire stuff, and I was like, I'm still physically able to do it. I want to be able to help if something goes down, and then it kind of just snowballed. So now we're actually an ambulance district as well. So I just finished my EMT a couple of weeks ago, and I just have to take my national registry test. I haven't scheduled that yet, but man, learning that was a whole nother language. I mean, I've been in insurance for 17 years, and I haven't been the idiot in an industry in a long time. So starting from scratch was definitely new. It was definitely tough for me.
You're not an idiot, brother. It's just, like you said, it's just new acronyms, man. New alphabet soup you got to pick up on.
A whole language.
Do they put you guys through still? Because like we went through, mind you, when I was in was 2009 or 2008 to 11 range. And so we did a lot of FEMA stuff because of Katrina and everything. Do you guys still do FEMA certifications and such?
No, I haven't done FEMA. I had to do some like national incident management courses and stuff like that, but nothing. So
Same
it's probably
thing then.
Similar.
Yeah.
It's probably similar. I've done some FEMA stuff through State Farm. So, working hurricanes and stuff when I was doing that before I was an agent, but not through our fire department.
Good stuff. And you're not a veteran.
No, sir.
Okay. Alex is the veteran. That's right.
Yep.
You guys were some of the first two Colorado guys that I ever had on, and I remember one was a veteran, one was an insurance agent. I was like, let me not get you guys confused out there. Yeah. So, well, this is awesome, man. So it's, like we said before, if you're in Colorado now, can you do insurance outside of Colorado, or are you Colorado specific?
I am Colorado specific. I have had some guys reach out on Facebook and stuff asking me, about it. I can usually find an agent for them if they don't, have State Farm already. If they have State Farm already, they can use their local agent should be able to do it. Every state might be a little different, but it should be very similar. I mean, these boats across the board are pretty similar. There's a handful of states that can't ride them, but most of us can.
So bottom line is, if you're in Colorado, You see the information flowing at the bottom of our screen here, folks. Give them a call, throw an email, or go visit the website at insure719.com. Go check them out. If you don't have this insurance, I'm going to throw it out there. I'll just say it, put my 2 cents in there. Do not rely on this being on your homeowner's insurance, man. That's just not smart, maneuvering, in my opinion. You're just asking for problems when you're doing that. What better than to have it specifically insured, like you said, and then, be able to get everything all in one location, and dude, I'll tell you what carries a lot of weight for me too, is the fact that you're a kayak angler. I mean,
Yeah.
you are going to know what these men and women are going to be coming to you with, to put together. That feels like super good. I know that you and I are going to be having a conversation very soon because I love my insurance agent so much. He literally got insured here in the state. He's out of Minnesota, but he is also with AmFam. He can do insurance here in Colorado. I brought him with me. He does all my stuff here. But in this case here, I do want to, like you said, I was very happy to hear that you can just do this policy all by itself. So, yeah I want to get connected with you, brother, and we'll definitely get that thing squared away. Kayak fishing season's on us, man. You fish the multi-species scene. You do some bass stuff. You do a ton of wreck stuff. Have you been out yet? Are you getting ready to go? What's it looking like for you?
It's a little early for me.
Yeah.
I did put away my ice gear and get my kayak ready. I've got some new gear this year, so I made one trip last weekend just to kind of test out some stuff, and learned that I needed to move some stuff around. So I've got some parts on order and hopefully out in the next couple of weeks again. But I didn't catch anything. I only spent about 90 minutes on the water. It was a little too cold for me still.
So I got out when our first little dose of spring came in. Flanagan and I got a chance to get out and go splash around some little ponds. I've caught one fish so far, one bass so far on a little, of course, on my swim jig. That's my favorite surf bait of all time. I just love slinging that thing around. Caught one fish on that, and that's it so far. But it's weird for me this season, Ronnie, because I'm not fishing the national trails anymore for this season because I'm working the All-American stuff as an event manager. So all of my time is going to be, all my tournament stuff is going to be local stuff. I might try to sneak in some Saturday derbs, that are running in conjunction with the All-American. Let those guys take my money, in Missouri and Iowa and different places. But for the most part, Boyd, CKFC, is going to be the opener, man, on bass. Are you going to be fishing the bass one up there?
I doubt it. That is
Gotcha.
on my calendar. I think it's April 20th. I actually have a sporting clay event thing out in Lamar that's that weekend. So I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
I do enjoy fishing Boyd. I don't get to fish it as much, but if not, I've got to wait until May to fish Pueblo. So
yeah. I'm actually, this will be my first CKFC tournament that I can get in. And it actually, of all the schedule, looking to see where everything is, there's 2 events, actually 3, because I can do that charity tournament that they got going on. I can't wait to go do that. That's going to be fun. I
cannot wait for that one, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that one. Yeah.
That's going to be a ton of fun. But Boyd and Chatfield, I'll be honest, my 2 least favorite lakes in Colorado to fish. Yeah. Boyd I like, except in my personal opinion, it fishes small. And so when you get a lot of guys on there, it's so tough to, you really got to have some good communication going to work out, because it's just not, I personally don't think there's a ton of space there, but who knows? Maybe some spots open up that we haven't seen before. That would be good.
That first tournament of the year is always pretty busy too.
Right? Everybody's got cabin fever looking to get out.
Yep.
So that should be pretty awesome there. Well, listen, man, I can't thank you enough here for coming on, talking with us about kayak insurance. Folks, you see this stuff rolling at the bottom, give Ronnie a call here. If you're in the state of Colorado, this is the guy you need to get connected with for your kayak insurance, hands down. And if you're outside of the state, he's offered to help you there. Talk to your insurance agent, see if they have a kayak policy. If they don't, then come back, check this video, maybe give Ronnie a call. Maybe he can give you a tip on there. Or if you need to, reach out to me and I'll get you in contact with the man himself here, and we'll get you squared away one way or another. Well, thank you, man. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited to see some stuff unfold, and I wish you and your team down there nothing but the best for the entire season.
Awesome. Thanks, Gene.
You bet, brother. Folks, stay with us here. Go check out Ronnie's where I just had it here. Boy, I'm getting old in the brain. Yes, Romero Insurance, Ronnie at Insure. And I didn't include your Facebook handle there. What is the Facebook?
It's just Romero Insurance Agency on
Romero
Facebook.
Insurance Agent.
Yep.
Perfect. I wondered why. I was like, why didn't I get that in there? Make
Yeah.
sure to go give a like and a follow there. A lot of good content coming through. Of course, with our stuff, hit the Paddle and Fin Up All-American Kayak Series, Battleborn Tackle, Romans Warrior Foundation, and the TPO Doc Talk podcast. My goodness, that's a mouthful. Thanks, folks. Tight lines. Be safe.